Let me ask you something. When you think about your experiences, those key experiences and milestones in your life and in your career, do you only talk about the milestone, or do you take the time to reflect on and talk about how you grew and developed in pursuit of hitting that milestone? And I ask this question because what I've seen in my own career and from working with hundreds of women is that it isn't only about what you did. It's also about what you did represents and what it demonstrates. And most of us are sitting on experience that is working for us far less than it could be simply because we've never stopped to truly translate the impact and the benefit of that particular experience. So today I want to show you exactly how to be looking at your experience differently so that your experiences can start working for you instead of you consistently chasing new milestones and new markers. So if that's interesting to you, I want you to lean in, grab your notebook, and let's get into it. Welcome to the Career Changemaker podcast. Do you want clear direction about your next chapter, but find yourself overthinking every move and worrying about getting it wrong? If so, you're in the right place. Hey, I'm Janine Esbrand, corporate lawyer turned career coach, keynote speaker, and mother of two. And I've discovered how to gain real career clarity and build an impactful career on my terms without sacrificing security or burning out. If you're ready for aligned career options, confident decisions, and work that protects your peace, close that comparison tab on LinkedIn, grab your notebook, and let's dive in. Before we dive into today's episode, I want to tell you about something that I have been working on behind the scenes and I am excited to announce. On the 2nd and 3rd of September, I am going to be running a free 2-day intensive where we are going to be focusing on building out multiple streams of income. In this intensive, I'm going to walk you through the framework that I have applied in my own life and have helped other people to apply to be able to build out additional streams of income without leaving your corporate job. We're talking about how you go about building a portfolio career, and it's going to be me and you for 2 days on Zoom, and we're going to get it done. So I want you to head over to the show notes, sign up. If you go to careerchangemakers.com/intensive, you will be able to sign up. I want to see you in the room. It's going to be an awesome event. There will be more information coming about it, but mark your calendar, 2nd and 3rd of September. It's completely free. So there's no reason for you not to be in the room. Go and sign up and I will see you there. There have been many pivotal moments in my life, but there are 3 that I want to talk about today that at the time were significant moments, but I didn't realize until afterwards how significant they were. And I didn't fully appreciate the benefit of having reached that milestone until later. So the first is when I was 21, I had the opportunity to move to New York for a year. At the time, I had just finished my law degree and I was thinking about the next steps, and I knew that I wanted to have an experience where I took a gap year before I dove into law school, and there was this incredible opportunity to go to New York, work in a law firm over there, study for an international business qualification, and have the time of my life as a 21-year-old. And so I took up the opportunity because I wanted to do something different, and I figured it would be a great experience for me post university. So that was the first time that I hadn't moved out for university. That was my first experience living away from my family. Second experience that I want to mention is doing a TED Talk. I wanted to do a TED Talk. It was on my bucket list, but I didn't recognize how terrifying it was going to be, how much preparation was going to go into writing this 10-minute talk. There were hours upon hours of preparation and practice for me to be able to deliver this 10-minute talk. And when I said I wanted to do a TED Talk, I saw from the outside what it looked like, but I didn't really know all that was entailed until I got into it. And the third moment was my decision to start this podcast. Back in 2017, I decided that I wanted to start a podcast so I could share my perspective and reach more people around the world. And I had no idea what I was doing, but I decided that I would start anyway. I didn't have any guarantees that anyone around the world would listen. I had no guarantees that this would be something I would commit to long term, but I just got started. And when I think about those moments, the going to New York when I was 21, the putting my hand up and putting myself forward to do a TED Talk and starting this podcast, each and every one of those milestones are ones that people externally say, wow, that's amazing. It's so good that you've been able to do that. When people hear that I did those things and I hit those milestones, people will say congratulations. They will admire the fact that I hit those milestones. But the bit that I want to talk about today, which is the bit that people don't really acknowledge as much, but I think is so, so powerful, is what those milestone moments and what those experiences represented. Because going to New York for a year, leaving my family, my then boyfriend, who's now my husband, traveling 3,000 miles to live with strangers and to work in an environment that's very different from what I was used to, that whole experience, it represented more than just going on an internship. It represented who I became while I was there. It represented a season of growth, a season of cultural awareness, a season of becoming an adult and really knowing what it means to look after myself and knowing how to navigate different spaces. Right? The TED Talk, it wasn't just about doing a talk and having to do a load of research and do a load of writing and do a load of practice. It was about weathering the roller coaster of emotions that come with a high stakes talk, that comes with, and navigating the pressure that comes with standing on that red dot and having all eyes on you in the room, but knowing that thousands of people are going to watch this recording and it's going to live on the internet forever. Who I had to become to allow myself to go from someone who was doing a little bit of speaking here and there to standing with confidence and delivering this talk. It was a lot. It was a lot. So the gap between who you are when you set the goal and who you become when you actually achieve it is quite big. And the thing that people don't either recognize or give themselves credit for is what is actually required for you to be able to keep showing up in pursuit of a goal and in the process be evolving and changing as a person. Because the person that I went to New York as was definitely not the person that I returned home as. Right? Because of the experience that I had. So all of those experiences and all of those moments of identity shift have contributed to the version of me that is showing up in boardrooms, that's showing up for clients, that is supporting my family, that is doing all the things that I do. So I think it's important for us to recognize that there is a level of experience that you have that sits within your experiences that we don't always pay attention to or we don't always articulate. When I think about this podcast, when I first started, I had no idea what I was doing. And over time, being the host of this podcast has allowed me to meet so many people. It's allowed me to understand my perspective. It's allowed me to understand how to build something from scratch, learn how to market things, learn how to talk about things, learn how to research. So being a podcast host for the last 9 years isn't just about saying, I've published 320 episodes. It's about the level of understanding, awareness, appreciation that I have for different industries, different people, different backgrounds because of this podcast is huge. I'm sharing with you these different experiences of mine. And there's probably many more instances that I could share with you because I see this coming up with clients time and time again where they have done incredible things that on paper people will applaud and people will say that's amazing, but they don't necessarily sit with what that accomplishment actually means and the amount of skills that are sitting within that milestone. And what I see is because people are just paying attention to the overarching milestones and they're not digging in, they skip over things as though it's nothing, right? So when I sit across from a client who has had an extraordinary career that's really impressive on paper and they've done some really great things and they say things like, oh, I just managed a team, or I led a project, or I moved into a new industry, because they haven't really paid attention to how impressive the experience that sits behind those descriptions is, they are able to just explain it like it's just a minor thing. Like, I managed a team. And when you dig in, you come to find out they've managed an international team of like 40 people. What does that actually mean? If you're managing an international team of 40 people, you are going to have to be able to navigate cultural nuances. You're going to have to navigate time zone challenges. You're going to have to navigate translating strategy to different people with very different backgrounds and different experiences. You're going to have navigated the highs and lows of actually digging into understanding the motivation of your team, dealing with performance issues. There's so much that you will have done if you manage a team of 40 people across borders. But if you're just saying, I managed a team, one, you're not acknowledging the depth of that experience and who you had to become in order for you to manage that team. And two, you're not articulating that to other people. If you're not acknowledging it, then you're just sitting on that experience as an item that you can put on your CV. But the reality is, if you can lean into fully appreciating the breadth and depth of your experience, you can have that experience working for you instead of it being a memory, instead of it being something that you lived and you went through and then it's done. Let's make the experience that you have work for you. Because let's think about it. You can have two women that have the exact experience on paper, right? Identical. But if they were sitting in an interview and they were explaining what it is that they've done to two different potential employers, it can land completely different because of the way that they tell the story around what it is that they did, because of the facts that they are drawing to the surface in their descriptions. And if we think about this in terms of you selling your expertise and you selling your experience, not just sharing what your experience was, but really selling it, think about the difference, right? When I say to a potential employer or a potential client that I'm going to work with that I lived in New York for a year, they're not excited about the fact that I lived in New York for a year. That's my lived experience. Those are my memories. They're not excited about that. What they might get excited about is what it tells them about me as an individual. The fact that I did go to New York and lived there for a year and studied and worked at the same time, that shows them that I'm a tenacious individual. That shows them that I am committed. That shows them that I'm a risk taker. So it's because of what I've done that they're able to draw from that an impression on who I am as a person. Nobody's really buying if I say I led this big project. But what they are buying is that if you're leading the project, that means that you're someone who can be trusted. There's someone who can manage things under pressure. There's someone who can manage other people. So this is where I see people miss the mark, right? They don't go beyond the surface level of what they did. They are just saying, I did this, and just leaving it to whoever's listening to come to their own conclusion as to what that means. But you have the opportunity to articulate what you did in a way that demonstrates how they need to be viewing you as you are looking at packaging your expertise and your experience. Right. So if you were to take one experience from your career history and ask yourself, what did this experience actually require of me? Not what did I do or what was the outcome, but what did it require of me? Adaptability, resilience, the ability to build trust fast, the ability to build rapport, whatever that is, I want you to write that down. And then the follow-up question that comes to the surface can be, what's the part of this that I've stopped thinking about as a big deal? And the answer is usually the exact thing that you've been leaving out of conversations about your career and the thing that can really make you your expertise. And your ability stand out amongst other people. The other thing I want you to think about is the fact that commitment and dedication are real currency, particularly in this day and age. We are in a time where ease is top of mind for everyone. Can we take the shortest cut? Can we just get AI to do it? Do I really need to do this? Everyone's looking for a shortcut. Everyone's looking to do things easily. So because everyone is taking the fastest path, the easiest path, when you see someone who is dedicated, who is committed, it hits differently. So when I think about the hours that went into me preparing for a TED Talk, or the hours that go into recording and editing and publishing a podcast, the outcome didn't come just in a single moment. It came with sustained effort that no one else saw. No one else saw the moments when I was sitting in my office, tearing my hair out at midnight, trying to memorize this TEDx talk and feeling like I'm just going to quit. No one's seen the many times where I've recorded a podcast episode late into the evening and only to find out that it didn't record, and then having to record it again, right? There's so much that goes on behind the scenes. And I know you have your examples of this, right? Things that you've worked on that people don't really fully appreciate how much went into those things. But you being really open and vocal about the effort that is required to do the things that you do can be helpful. It can be helpful, right? It can be the thing that helps to separate you from others and allow the achievement to be more visible, not just in terms of the outcome, but also in terms of your input, right? Allow your achievement to be visible, not just in terms of the outcome, but also your input, letting people know the level of commitment that was required in order for you to get to where you were going. Let them know, you know? I think sometimes when we talk about what we've done, we try to always focus on the positive spin. And whilst there's a time and place for that, I think sharing with people a bit about the journey and what it's taken for you to get to this point is also valuable. It's also valuable and helpful to give people context. So when you are next describing your experience, I want you to not just focus on stating the outcome, give a little bit of the behind the scenes. Right? Here's what I did, and here's what I tried, and here's where it didn't quite work out, and here's how I pivoted, and this is where I got to. Give people some of the journey, because the journey illustrates your level of commitment, your level of determination, and that tells people about you, your character, and what they can expect from you if they're going to work with you going forward. And the last thing I want to just touch on here is that you're always collecting new experiences. You're always collecting new experiences, whether they are new experiences that you have, set as a goal and you've been working towards for a long time, or if they're unexpected new experiences. We need to make sure that as you are collecting new experiences, that you are taking the time to process them and translate them. So it's not just the case that you're just going to audit all of the things you've done in the past, but make it a regular thing. Make it a regular thing that you take stock. You think about the projects that you've worked on, the conversations that you've had, the feedback that you've received, and make sure they get banked. They get banked in the memories, right? We're so busy sometimes that we're just moving at pace and getting things done and moving forward that we are forgetting to mark the milestones. And in those spaces are the gems of your experience that you can be leveraging going forward. Right? So often I see people just doing so much. The experience is just piling up. You've done so many things. You've got so many accolades. You have all of these things. But because you're not looking at them and you're not teasing out the growth moments and the real journey and what you've taken away from it, the benefit of that experience isn't compounding. It's not compounding. You can have like 20 years, you have 10, 15, 20 years of extraordinary experience and still feel like you don't really have much to show for it, right? I've done all this work. I've been working for so many years, and someone asked me, what are the highlights of your career? And you find it really hard to bring that to the surface, right? Tell me a bit about your 5 to 10 years that you've been working in this organization. And then you're sitting there thinking, I've been doing a lot because I've been busy, but I can't remember what that is. If that is your experience where it's hard for you to remember what you've been working on, whether that is in your annual review or that is in a conversation with someone, that tells me that you haven't been tracking and you haven't been reflecting and you haven't been drawing out the moments where you are acknowledging not only what you've done, but how what you've done has shifted and changed you as a person. What are some of the key learnings? What are some of the key skills and value points that you're now able to offer to other people? If you're not able to bring that out, I recommend that you start building that as a habit. Building that as a habit. So you have this experience bank, but alongside that, you've really been looking at the experience and teasing out the parts of it that are not only valuable to someone else, but are demonstrating how you have become a new version of yourself that is going to be able to bring immense amount of value differently to your next projects, your next client, your next organization. So build out that habit. Ask yourself one question at the end of each month. You can say, like, going through this experience or having achieved this goal, what does this now allow me to say about myself that I couldn't say before? Right? What does it allow me to say about myself that I couldn't say before? And that can help you to draw out those growth points, draw out awareness about yourself, or draw out a new skill that you've developed or a new perspective that you now have. And then over time, you have this bank that you can draw from and use it when you are updating your CV, when you are pitching, when you are updating your LinkedIn profile, where you are having a conversation that you didn't see coming. You want to have those to hand. And there is actually a tool that I would highly recommend you checking out. I had the founder of this AI tool called Career Capital on the show a little while ago, and I will link to the episode with Orlando so you can lean in and learn more. But he's developed this amazing tool that allows you to track your experiences as you go. It allows you to track your milestones and those moments where you have really added value, so that when you need to be able to recall them, you have them in one place in a way that not only articulates what you did, but articulates the value that comes from it. So I'm going to link in the show notes to that. I'd highly, highly recommend you checking it out, and you can grab yourself a free trial if you click the link that I'm going to put in the show notes. Here is what I want you to really take away from today's episode. And it is that the things that you've done are amazing. And now that you're looking back at them in retrospect, know that the true value in what you bring to the table can be found in what it represents. So the fact that you've hit certain milestones, they demonstrate something about you as a professional, you as an individual. And I want you to know what that is so that you're able to share it with other people. Don't overlook the fact that commitment and dedication is currency. It's currency, because you being able to show that you're committed and you're dedicated is definitely going to put you in a different league to someone who shows that they're not as invested and they don't care as much. Right. So keep building out your bank of experience in a way where you're able to refer back to it and you're able to talk about not only what you've done, but also what you've done has changed you and therefore gives you the opportunity to add value. I want you to move away from just sitting on all of these years of experience and have the experience start working for you. The experience can only start working for you when people know about it. The experience only works for you when you are articulating it. And I want you to articulate it fully so we can squeeze all the juice out of the incredible things that you've made, the moments you have graduated, the things you have orchestrated. I want you to squeeze the juice out of it and be able to use it to your benefit, rather than just having this pile of memories that you think back on, but are not necessarily helping you to move towards your goals because you're not talking about them in the right way. Okay. And when it comes to you really owning your expertise and owning the breadth and depth of your experience, this is something that we are going to be really looking at in day one of my 2-day intensive. We're going to be going through your entire career history and we're going to help you pull out exactly what you've been sitting on. Because if I know anything to be true from the work that I've done coaching hundreds of women, is that it's really hard to see it when you're close up. It's really hard to see it when it's your experience. And one of my most favorite things to do is to help people see themselves and help them see how valuable what they've been doing is. I like to hold up that mirror and show you how incredible you are and how much you've been able to glean from the experiences that you've had. So come and join me in the room. I want you in the virtual room so we can be digging in together. It's a free opportunity for you to come and work with me and let me help you fully leverage all of the experience that you've had. So head over to careerchangemakers.com/intensive and you can sign up and tell a friend. The more the merrier. We are going to be going live in my virtual Zoom room on the 2nd and 3rd of September at lunchtime. Carve out the time on your calendar now, and I look forward to seeing you then. That is all from me today. Until next time, look after yourself and keep moving towards your career goals. Hey, ambitious woman, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If so, would you take 30 seconds to follow the show and share it with someone who may be quietly rethinking their next chapter? Also, please leave a review. It really helps this message reach more ambitious women ready for career clarity. And it lights me up to know that this podcast is helpful to you. Until next time, go and take one strategic step forward, and I'll meet you back here in a few days for another episode. Let's keep building.